So this is the first episode of Unfiltered Lives, the other side. And I've got the inspiration from this YouTube channel, from the Soft White Underbelly, an American YouTube channel by Matt Leisure, which I've been watching for some time, and a fabulous channel. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could replicate that and do the British version of the Soft White Underbelly, but it will be called Unfiltered Lives, the other side. And I thought, what better to start this with than to start with my own story. As a recovered alcoholic of nearly a year and a half, I thought, what better to start this YouTube channel than tell my story of drug addiction, alcoholism, and just my mad, chaotic life that I've lived since I basically opened my eyes. So I'll probably start off with when I was probably just first born. I didn't realise it then, but some of my first ever memories was very young and having a really, really bad stammer. I had a really bad stammer all my life, but I can remember being very young and having a really bad stammer. And I can remember being terrified, feared and scared of most of the world. I remember I was terrified of my dad. I was absolutely terrified of him. My dad was a violent drunk. I won't use the word alcoholic because that's up to the person to call themselves an alcoholic. But my dad was an especially violent drunk, and he basically tortured me and my it was my three siblings because my younger brother hadn't come along yet. And one of the stories that I've got in my head that we kept, that I hadn't shared this story for over 30 years, was he would wake up in the morning, and we stayed in a two-bedroom house in a place called Fergusley Park in Paisley, and it was a really rough housing estate. I didn't find it rough because that was just where I was brought up. But anyway, we lived in a two-bedroom tenement building, and if one of us spoke, so if I spoke to my little brother James, he'd go, "Charles," and I would have to come through my wee pants, and I would sit at the edge of his bed. And then if James spoke, it'd be James, then James would come, and he would sit at the edge of his bed. William, and he would come, sit at the edge of his bed. Lisa, and she would come and sit at the edge of the bed. And it was like that in my house. We were ruled by fear. Subsequently, by the age of 13, we were taken to children's homes, and I spent the next 6 years in a children's home. And that's where I experienced a sort of life that I think normal kids would probably experience. Even though I was in the children's home, I felt for the first time in my life I was starting to experience life as a kid. And we had the freedom, we got pocket money and stuff like this. And by the age of 19, when I left the children's home, I had a little flat in Paisley. And really that's when I started to drink. I wanted to tear the world up. I was so angry. I was so angry with the world. I was so angry with myself. And I didn't know where to place this anger. The anger that boiled inside me was an anger that I wanted to light up the world. I wanted to light up myself. And I had a terrible stammer. I was scared of everything. And I was alone in the world. I was completely alone in the world. That's how I felt. And probably where I first sampled my first alcoholic drink. And my first alcoholic drink was 2 Diamond Whites. Maybe if you're in America or wherever you are, you might not know what a Diamond White was. A Diamond White was a cheap, strong cider. And me and my friend had bought 3 Diamond Whites. And by the end of the first Diamond White, I had completely and utterly blanked out. I could not remember a thing. And I woke up the next day and I had like knife marks over my hands and bruised, and I was cut, and I had no idea how I got there. And that is how I drunk. I drunk to blackout. I drunk. I was terrified of the world. I was terrified of myself. And I didn't know how to handle emotions. I ended up in prison by the time I was 22 for a very violent offence, which I thoroughly deserved to go to prison for. And then I got out of prison by 24, I think I was out of prison. And life just continued. Life was just, I would start drinking on a Friday, become violent on a Friday night, black out. And then probably by the age of 25, I found cocaine. And cocaine lit me up like you would never believe. What I need to mention here as well, when I started to drink alcohol, alcohol took away my stamina. Alcohol put me in a level playing field with everybody else. So when I drunk, it was like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde effect. You know, it drunk and it put me on a level playing field, but I never knew when to stop. I never had the checkered flag to go home. I never had the checkered flag to stop because I completely and utterly blanked out. And people will tell you when they black out, it's not good. I caused carnage and mayhem when I blacked out. Absolute carnage. And I found cocaine by probably about the age of 25. And cocaine was good at the start. It lit me up. But then cocaine became a way that I could drink longer. So while everybody would have a Friday night, I would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'd go back to work on the Monday. And that's how my drinking was. It was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, cocaine, drink, cocaine, party lifestyle. And then I moved down to England, probably in my early 30s. I moved down to England, and I did something called the geographical, where I thought I could move down to England and I'll make a fresh new start. The time that I got down to England, 2 weeks, and I was already in the carnage and the mayhem that I've caused in Scotland. And really, that's how my life existed. I knew that I had a real problem with drinking. I always knew I had a problem with drinking, but I never knew how to fix it. And I absolutely, when you're scared, I would look in the mirror and I would loathe everything that stared back at me. I can always remember looking in the mirror and absolutely loathing myself. And I used this, like I was in a cage of despair most of my life, and I didn't know how to get out of the cage. I simply didn't. And the only way that I could get out of the cage was by drinking and sniffing and drinking and sniffing and causing mayhem. Every job I had, I lost through alcohol. Every relationship I had, I lost through alcohol and drugs. Every friend that I had, I lost through drinking, drugging. Um, my best friend died nearly 25, 30 years ago. He hanged himself, and he was an absolute soul brother of mine. And 5 years ago, I decided that it was my turn to take my life. And I came home from a night out, got a chair from the kitchen, got a clothesline from the back, tied the clothes round the clothesline, round the third balcony and put it down, got on the chair, pulled the clothesline around my neck, and I stood in that chair, up on my ankles, back down again, tried to hang myself, and I could not do it. I could not hang. I couldn't even hang myself. I felt that worthless. I couldn't take the step into suicide. I just couldn't do it. I was too much of a coward to even hang myself. That's what I thought at the time. You can't even fucking kill yourself. And that absolutely haunted me for months and months and months. I could not even take my own life. And I absolutely loathed every bone in my body because I could not commit suicide. And then a year after that, I was in a 4-day bender. I came, I was coming off a bender, and I was out in my car, and my car crashed over a hedge into a farmer's field, and it left me paralysed. It left me paralysed from the waist down, and I've still got really bad internal problems at, at the moment. And I woke up in hospital in the James Cook. I woke up a couple of weeks later. And you know what I did? I had a half bottle of vodka under my pillow, completely and utterly paralysed. Still not thinking I had a problem with alcohol. Makes me laugh now. Completely and utterly paralysed from the waist down. The car crash completely paralysed me, and I still never thought I had a problem with alcohol. I just thought, I hate myself, I loathe myself. This alcohol, this addiction, whatever, will take my life eventually. And so be it. It's going to take my life, and so be it. I'm willing to die. I've never been scared of dying. And it was just a matter of time before I died. I wanted the world to hate me. I wanted to be an asshole. I didn't want to show anyone my true colours. I didn't want to show anybody that deep down inside I was just a scared little boy who was terrified of his dad. I put on this big mask and I put on this bravado, awaiting death. And that was me. It was just awaiting death. You know, there was some good times in all this. You know, I had some great relationships. I've had some really fun holidays. Or have I had? Because every single holiday that I went on, I caused carnage. Every time I drank, I caused carnage. I might have thought I had a good time. I didn't really. Because everything revolved around alcohol and drugs. Finally, the 2nd of November 2022, I'd been out with a new friend and his wife and my partner at the time. And we'd just been for a Sunday cavalry. And while my friend and my partner at the time was having something to eat and that, I was already planning. That I was going to have a pint. I was going to have a gin. I was going to get everyone home, and I was going to go home, and I was going on a bender. And that's what I did. It was a Sunday, and that bender lasted 4 days. I came to on the Wednesday, and I was out in my back garden, and I was down on my knees, and I was like, I only went for Sunday dinner, and how come I'm back here again on a Wednesday? How come I'm back here again, shouting at myself, shouting at God, shouting, how the fucking hell have I done this again? How can I not just go for a Sunday dinner and just be normal? How can I not do it? And I remember there was a chap, because I'm part of the sea swimmers, the Brass Monkey Sea Swimmers. And I remember a chap having a conversation 3 months prior about a programme. And I didn't have this chap's number, so I had to call a couple of people to get his number. This chap phoned me back straight away, and physically and mentally took me to a programme of recovery that night. I know that chap saved my life that day, because even though that wasn't my worst bender that I'd been in, I'd crossed the line because I was hallucinating really bad. I was really suicidal, and I knew I didn't have much left in the tank, and by then there wasn't much left. Now I knew that it was getting close to time. And anyway, when that chap came that night and physically, mentally dragged me to a recovery program, and since that recovery program, I have been sober. I think it's just going on 17 months, just going on just going on a year and a half, and taking every day as it comes, taking every 24 hours as it comes. And the program has literally saved my life. It's literally and utterly saved my life. As someone who was in despair his whole my life, to be sitting in front of this on camera, telling my story is just remarkable that I can even do this. And it's remarkable that when I got sober, I managed to find my voice back. So a guy who had a stammer his whole my life has managed to have a voice and has managed to speak to others and has managed to find his voice. Now you just need to get him to shut up. But I need to tell you my life that I live now. I don't have multi-millions. I don't have cars. I don't have anything. But the life that I've got now, because I've got a God of my understanding in my life, which is my sunrise, which is nature, is my God. I live a life of pure tranquility and pure serenity. I live a life that's been given to me by God that I cannot fathom out. And sometimes I feel as if I don't deserve this in my life. But I've treated my recovery like I've treated my recovery like I've treated it like a job. You know, I put as much into getting well as I put as much into being unwell. And the life that I live, the life that I live right now, is just something that I can't even talk about. I found a life after alcohol. I found a life after alcohol. A lad for 46 and a half years who had absolutely loathed himself, hated himself, and was terrified, terrified. Now quite likes himself. Has now got self confidence, self worth, and the old chestnut where I'm not watching life. I'm not watching life. I'm being part of life now. I'm not existing. I'm living. Is my life year today. And I would like to thank the Soft White Underbelly for their channel and giving me the inspiration now to try and do the British version of this and to try and show others that everyone has a story. Everybody, you don't have to be a celebrity, you don't have to be famous. You've got a story inside you. And I hope by me giving you a little snapshot of my life, my unfiltered life, my other side, that I can show you that it's worth coming on this side of the camera and letting me tell your story. Thanks very much for listening.